Welcome back to Fly Headcorn, and we hope you're enjoying our uploads. Now, one of the players here at Headcorn Aerodrome is Flight Sport Aviation, based in Deanland with a fleet of 6 aircraft. A couple of them are based here, offering training for the Microlight licence. And we're going to be meeting instructor Alex, who's going to explain the advantages of learning on an aeroplane like this. Well, I've cheekily strapped myself to this aeroplane, Golf Charlie India Charlie Foxtrot, and I'm with instructor Alex. Alex, tell us about flying this Icarus.
Yeah, so this Icarus C42, it's classed as a microlight aircraft, which means it comes in at under 450 kilos maximum all-up weight. It's a very efficient aircraft. Burns between 12 and 14 litres of regular unleaded fuel.
Right, so that means this is the kind of fuel you get from a petrol station.
Yeah.
So can we just land next to the Texaco garage and fuel up?
Last time I did that, I got a parking ticket.
Yeah,
so now I just go down in my car and we fill up with cans.
Right.
But yeah, it's very practical, light, fun, easy aircraft to fly.
It looks it. Well, tell me, I mean, look at this great thing here. What does this do?
Yeah, this is the control column. It controls pitch, so up and down effectively. Sometimes I get confused about it, so I just ease the stick back. The houses get smaller, and if I push it forward, the houses get bigger.
Now, wait a minute. Let me just do that again.
Yep.
So pull it back, houses get smaller.
Yep.
Push it forward, houses get bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all right.
sometimes I get confused which way around it is, but that's a good way
And
of
what's going on here? There's a big lever here. What's this?
So that's something called our flaps. If we look out on the winds there, we can see the flaps going down.
Oh, yeah.
That lowers the speed at which the aircraft, the wind will generate lift, so it enables us to take off in a shorter distance than not using the flaps, something this aircraft is very good at due to its lightweight.
Of course.
And it also lowers, also makes landing easier. We can land at a lower, safer speed.
Now, you know me, Alex, I'm an experienced instructor and pilot. What's the main difference with this panel I'm looking at and one in a conventional aircraft?
Okay, so this aircraft is quite a simple panel. There's not too many instruments, dials, as opposed to other aircraft. May look a bit sort of overwhelming if you're not used to being in a cockpit. Very simple. We've got our VSI indicator. It shows how much we're climbing and descending in hundreds of feet per minute. Got our airspeed indicator here. We cruise at about 75 knots in this aircraft.
Hang on a minute, 75 knots. Now, our viewers may not understand knots. How many miles an hour is that, roughly?
So we're looking at about 75 knots, we're looking at about 85 miles an hour, just under 90 miles an hour.
Above the speed limit on the road then?
Above the speed limit on the road, yeah. But we don't worry too much about speed limits.
No, I suppose not. Now, I recognise this. This is the altimeter. This is our height above the ground.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, as you say, our height above the ground. We got our engine RPM here. Now, this is quite a big difference compared to your other aircraft. We actually cruise at about 4,500 RPM in this machine.
That's quite high.
It's quite high, whereas most other sort of what we call general aviation aircraft, you're cruising at about 2,500 RPM. But how they do it, it's a much smaller engine, so it needs to rev more. But as a result of it being a smaller engine, it gives us great fuel efficiency.
Fantastic. It's got more RPM than my Citroen Berlingo, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to be really cheeky on behalf of Fly Headcorn and ask Alex, because I'm buckled in, if you could take me for a quick whiz.
Well, that sounds great. I think I'll be getting you to take me for a quick whiz. So off we...
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, exactly.
So Matt's going to give you control. You just line up in the middle you're ready, I'm going to get you to do the takeoff. Ready, Max? Let's do it. Let's go. There we are, off the ground already.
Wow, that's a great rate.
Yeah, great rate of climb. Like I say, that's the advantage of these light aircraft, these light Microlight C42s. They take off in no space at all.
Wow, 200 feet in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. Now the other thing that takes a bit of getting used to on these is taking the flap off. So you actually have to reach across with your left hand, release the flap. Excellent. I thought you may have done this before, Max.
Once or twice.
Yeah. So we're going to check it's clear. Right, straight ahead and to the left. All seems clear. So let's just do a steep turn over to the left. Okay, here we go. So there we are. Like I say, it's a very light, manoeuvrable aircraft. Yeah, steep turn to the left. It's all clear round to the right, so I'm just going to go around to a steep turn to the right. This manoeuvre is actually something you'll learn during your training to get your NPPL, National Private Pilot's Licence in this aircraft. So yeah, you can come along and you can learn to do that yourself.
Didn't look too difficult, I must say.
Not too bad. So. And try Foxtrot the head corner. Is it possible to do one more of those low approach go around? Excellent. Roger, thanks so much, Charlie Fox. How do you feel about landing this aircraft?
I'd love to have a go, Alex.
Yeah.
If you'll trust me, I'll have a go.
No problem. So the trick with these is we're just slowing down on the we just set up the final approach at 55 knots, one stage of flat, and whilst you're doing that, keep the aiming point halfway up the screen.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Kiss the ground. Excellent. Well done, look, we've turned off by the first marker board. How about that? Well done, Max, very good.
Lovely.
If you could do it, I'm sure others can.
Yeah, wonderful aeroplane,
Yeah,
really.
great little fun.
Fantastic.
Pleasure to fly.
Wow,
Yeah.
great. So Alex, if
Yeah.
I want to do a course of lessons in this fantastic C42 Icarus, what's the deal?
Deal is you phone us up, look at our website, Flight Sport Aviation, book in a lesson anytime that suits you, and I highly recommend, you know, even if you just want to do a flight, even if you don't want to do your full licence, to book yourself a flight. 1 hour lesson is £159. If you do your full course, then it's going to take between 35 and 40 hours roughly, and yeah, it's just a fantastic thing to do, just being in the air. It's just magical in general.
Well, I'm finding Alex's enthusiasm really infectious, should I say, and I could think of worse habits for £159 an hour. Check out Flight Sport Aviation on their website. Come and see Alex. You'll be in good hands with a first-class instructor. Thanks a lot.